What's up? Today is Sunday, August 23rd, 2020. Right now it's 9:20 p.m. And today, the title of today's video is going to be Chessbrah Sub Battle After Action Report Handling My Greatest Loss with Mental Toughness. So I want to talk about the game I played on the Chessbrah Sub Battle against, I think her name is Fiona, and kind of my reaction to it, what happened, of course, and then some good takeaways in regards to mental toughness in chess. I think this would be a really good video for any chess players or coaches who want to teach themselves or others how to handle losses in chess because it's going to happen eventually. I'm reading a book right now, and I may as well show the cover real quick. Mental Toughness in Chess. In this book, this is the author. The author talks about, how just one of those games where it shows you your weaknesses and your shortcomings. In order to get better at chess, you have to, at some point, acknowledge your weaknesses and your shortcomings. And so I think today's video is going to be great for myself. One of the reasons why I started this YouTube channel is because I want this to be kind of like my living journal. That way I can see back in the day how strong I was and how strong I became. Because one reason why I call myself Alexander the Great is because my hope is that with some hard work, dedication, I will one day become the great. So this is a work in progress. And so I want to kind of live up to those expectations by, of course, being vulnerable and talking about my greatest loss. And it's called My Greatest Loss because this happened live. So there are probably at least a few hundred, if not a few thousand people watching my game against this guy right here, 2511. And I totally choked. And I want to kind of talk about those reactions and all that stuff in 1 second. But first, a little bit background in case you didn't know. So Chessbrah is a YouTube channel who specializes, as they call it, in chess entertainment. So what they do is they find interesting topics to make videos about, and they make chess fun to watch and a little bit hilarious as well too. And one of the things they do is sub battles. Basically, they have a Twitch channel and they have followers, and they let their followers play against other people from other channels. And so the chess brawls were, they were doing a sub battle against Fiona, which is another very popular channel on Chess. I also have an account on there. Of course, we're on chess.com. So that's how, basically how I got involved with Chess Bros is I watched their YouTube channel, and then I eventually got subscribed to their Twitch channel too. And I thought to myself, one day I want to be in these sub battles because I always watch them, and I'm just like, come on, let's let me in. And after trying for the last 3 months, because we're in the quarantine right now, this is the pandemic. Finally, they picked me today. I was like, yes! And then it all went downhill from there. So we'll talk about the game itself in 1 second. Before we get started, I do want to talk just for a second about the book, because the whole reason why I'm sitting here right now doing this video is because of this book right here. So I do want to give a plug. I bought this book for my students, really, but this book had a lot of interesting tips and strategies for any players, regardless of your strength. And I do think that, like, for myself personally, I'm a type A personality, and we'll talk more about other books because I want to use my channel as a way for people to develop their psyche, their mental processes, whatever. But this book's really good because it does kind of lay out what all chess players should be doing. So I want to kind of illustrate that right now. One of the things, again, I'm a type A personality, so I'm a type of person who doesn't take losses too lightly. I mostly blame myself. So one of the concepts in the book I do want to mention real quick is imposter syndrome. This is someone who feels like, regardless of how well they're doing or how bad they're doing, it's all their fault. So if they're doing well, it's because of luck. If they fail, it's because they suck. And I definitely had that thought process going on today. So when I play this game and I lost, you'll see how I lost a little bit later. I was feeling really bad about myself. I was really, to kind of quote someone else, being a poopy pants, for lack of a better word. I really was. I was. Um, I'm good right now. I wish I could kind of replicate what I felt earlier. I guess I felt kind of inadequate because I'm a chess coach, air quotes. Yeah, I can't win these kinds of games. And my opponent, he was a good opponent. I guess I should show my opponent real quick then, since I mentioned his name. All right, 25-11. He's a decent player. I'm not saying that he's trash, but when I first looked back at my game earlier, just for like really briefly, he made a mistake, and I was really like beat myself up about it. I was like, man, this was my chance to really show these guys online who am I. I was about to say a word I'm not supposed to say. Again, this is because I do want my chess kids, my students to watch this video, so I don't want to accidentally curse. But you get my point, though. This is my chance, and I failed. And it's kind of like if you were someone like you had a role model and you had a chance to show your role model, hey, who you are, like, hey, here I am, I'm your fan, I look up to you. Not so much the chess bras, but you get the point though. I want to be a chess master too. So they're the closest thing, right? Here I am, notice me, look at me, and then I lose. Yeah, it was not a good feeling. So, and one thing too about my opponent, real quick, as I'm looking on his page, I did what I did before the match was I did look at his games, like these games right here, especially as black. So, one thing I did, which was really good, and I do want to talk about how to process your defeats, and I might make that my thumbnail. So, let me just make sure I get a nice, clear picture of that right there. What's up? Yeah, so it is important to look at your strengths, which I'll get to later. And I guess one of my strengths I did at the start was I did took the time out and I looked at this guy's games, and he was a big Khan player, so I was expecting him to play the Khan defense as black because the way the Chessbrah bracket worked, I might use that as my thumbnail too, because I did took a screenshot of the bracket before we started the tournament. So the way that it worked, I was going to be white and he was going to be black. So I was looking at his games as black, and he's a really big Khan player against e4. So I figured, okay, I might spend some time looking at, my track record with the Khan defense, which I did for a few minutes. It's not that great on chess.com, unfortunately, but I figured, I took the time out, so hopefully it wasn't going to be all bad. Well, unfortunately, we're about to see what happened today, of course. So let's go back. I had this right here, just FYI. The best quality for the best viewers. Always remember that, guys. Always remember that. And I'm getting over a kind of code, so if I do sound a little bit different, hopefully you guys don't mind me. Oh, look, 88 accuracy. Interesting. So, even though I lost the game, oops. Hey, look, I work out. Whoo! Hey, look, well, we're going to leave all this in, so whatever. I don't believe in edits because real people make mistakes. Hence the book. Seriously though, real people make mistakes. I'm not gonna, how we call it, scratch that out. Let's go leave it in. Yeah, 80 axes, that's pretty good, even though I lost the game. So let's look at this game real quick. I didn't see that earlier, so I'm actually really, yeah, it looks like the game kind of slipped through my fingers. Yeah, this was the final position, checkmate. So that was rip the dream, right? We'll talk about this in 1 second. My response to this. I want to see where I want to put my webcam at. I might put it over here in the bottom corner, I think. Yep, this seems like a good spot. Make sure it's in frame. All right, awesome. I do like on chess.com, there's a feature called key moments where you can like quiz yourself. So I do want to start there first. Yeah, 88 accuracy. That's not bad. I thought it would be like 50, like 50% accuracy. I was like, it's actually a pretty even game. You know, I of course I lost towards the end, but that's not that's pretty reasonable. I was being really hard on myself earlier because I felt like, oh my gosh, you know, I just lost this game so horribly on live television. Oh, but look at this. That's not that bad. So it makes me feel a lot better because trust me, when that final position came on the board, I was just like, God dang. That was my reaction. I mean, seriously, I was just like, oh my! I closed all my tabs, and I was like, this can't be happening right now. I was just like in total denial. I was like, no. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So let's do key moments. We're only like what? How much time into the video? It's whatever. Yeah, I saw this move. This was the first mistake I saw, and that's why I was like, that's how. Once I saw this mistake, I was like, gosh darn, I'm such an idiot. I mean, I will say this much: in the game, I was kind of tunnel visioning. Sorry, because I was so worried because I was like thinking about, oh, I'm on live television, you know, and everyone's seeing this, everyone's gonna comment on this, and like, you know, criticize my moves and all my blunders and stuff. You know, I was really overthinking things. I was really just focusing on the center, and I wasn't really thinking about the flanks that much. So one thing in chess you do want to just like play the game. It's just a game at the end of the day, just like Halo or Monopoly, whatever. So even though it's a competition, you know, if you're making it seem so like life and death, then you're not gonna have fun, and you're not gonna give yourself an opportunity to succeed because you're so worried about failing. So if I was my own coach, I would tell myself to chill. You know, chill, Mr. Morton. You being I'm not you being a poopy pants. I'll just say a poopy pants person. It's not my words. I do follow another person called David Goggins. He's a person who's really inspired me to do these workouts right here. We'll talk more about him later on. So tangent aside, so I already saw this move earlier. So the best move here, I mean, it's kind of obvious. Well, kind of. So this was a blunder. The best move after bishop here, which it seems so obvious at the time. Well, right now, but at the time I didn't see this. It's already plus 1.3 was queen takes pawn. Wow, this is really even. Yeah, so I mean, this is really even. I mean, it's minus 1.69. I guess it's not. Hmm. What could have been better here besides king to f3? So this one, I'm actually going to think this through because I do want to get better, and the only way you get better is by, of course, look at your mistakes. So what could? Well, I mean, obviously the only move here is king here. Oop. Yeah, I was thinking if I could win here, I could like stop this pawn push. I wasn't thinking about my king safety at all because, as you can see, the bishop controls the light squares, and my king's blocked it by his own pawn. And then these two pawns, I mean, this pawn right here controls these two squares right here. So, yeah, I mean, here obviously is the best move. All right, let's go to game summary real quick. All right, 93.8. Not bad. All right, let's look at the whole game and kind of my thought process real quick about the game itself. Let me just move this up here so it's out my way. All right. So for the Sicilian defense, I usually play like after d6, I go for the exchange. And this is my own like pet line right here. I always play this against the Sicilian because I don't have, well, it's going to change. I'm going to actually look at theory. But this was, well, I have had pretty good success with the check over variation with queen takes. I play this in a lot of different variations. The idea is that, white wants to get castle quickly, and that's kind of the idea right there. So you want to go for rapid development, get your pieces out really quickly. Most of the time, queenside castle, and you want to attack the center. And in a lot of variations I play through, white can win a pawn or at least maintain pressure on the center and eventually start some kind of kingside attack. So that's kind of the idea behind this variation right here. These next couple of moves were read off pretty quickly. This is pretty standard for me. And usually, even though black has the bishop pair, and a lot of my variations, you do get that back at some point. Black might decide to give back one of those bishops for one of these knights right here, because they do become a little annoying. All right, let me turn off the engine for 1 second, because I do want to look at this, just my reaction real quick, before I look at what the engine has to say. Now, come on. How do you turn off the engine? Oh well. I guess let's go ignore it. Let's go put my webcam right here so I don't have to see it. That's what I'll do. All right, so that's a blunder. Yep. Queen takes pawn. What's the issue? And it's still there. Wow. And this is one thing too. I'm so used to this system that I don't really think at this part of the game. I'm just thinking, all right, just bring my rook over, attack this pawn right here, whatever. But it pays to kind of slow down, even in a blitz game, and to really think about the position. There's time, and by the way, the time control was 3-0, so there was no increment. But still, at this point, I think I had. This is just by the moves right there. All right, how do you get this off? All right, I want this off the screen. All right, awesome. Yeah, so so you always be on the lookout for tactics and unprotected pieces right here. In this case, a pawn. It's a very important pawn if he castles kingside, of course. And it's my idea. This is usually a pawn push I like to do, e5. And the idea is that you're going to get temp on the queen, and you can start shifting your queen over to the king side in order to attack in some kind of way. Yeah, I was kind of debating about this for a few moves, about whether I should trade queens or not, because usually I try to decline that trade, but I couldn't see a good square for my queen. Queen here, after castles, and maybe, I don't know, a couple different moves, the queen gets kind of chased around the board. I guess queen here could have been an option too. So when he castles, there is no knight discovery because the bishop's unprotected. So I could play here, and after castles, if I could draw their arrows. So after this move, maybe think about I mean, well, I could think about making this move, attacking the queen, then get my queen right here, and then kind of set up some kind of attack like this. So that could be another approach too. It says queen b8's best. It does say queen takes on b8's best too. I did thought about this move too. Well, actually, I didn't see this move, to be honest. Bishop f4 is kind of interesting. I was thinking about this move for a second, but obviously that hangs a piece, so I think this would have been an interesting idea too in the game. Alright. Yeah, I was thinking about taking that bishop, but I wasn't really sure if I want the bishop yet or not. Because my knight's in a good position, though. Alright, this is a good move. Attacking the rook right there. The only issue as white here is that we're going for equal trades, and white's not really, there's no real advantage in this position. I mean, we do have 3 versus 2 right here, and, black has 4 against 3, so that there's a pawn, majority difference. But besides that, I mean, it's really pretty even, as you can see by the evaluation. So the real, I guess, improvement should come towards the end of the game, of course. So let's kind of go these moves real quick. All right, best. Yeah, I want to put my pawns on dark squares, even though I got dark square bishop. Maybe rook here and then pawn here would have been better, to be honest. Yeah, because I went there anyway, so that would have been a small tweak, if you will. All right. Yeah, I mean, these are good moves, at least by the computer's, sake. But at the same time, I mean, I was really trying to. I mean, my opponent was going faster, and so I was trying to think, what can I be doing right here? And I think this next couple of moves, it actually likes that move, believe it or not. It's even. Interesting. It's still, I mean, it's a slight edge for black, but just barely. I mean, everything's equal. I mean, I do have a bad bishop, but he is active, so, you know, I mean, this bishop can never attack these pawns right here, so his king will have to come over here at some point to attack these pawns, and it's kind of hard to do so. What I should have been doing was this right here, so I got a little carried away. I mean, I saw this idea. I should have played, moves like g3 and then, h4, just, dark squares. This would have been a draw, but it was a little bit too sloppy in how I was, approaching my king. Because, yeah, after check, the king should not be going this direction because you do lose a pawn right here. Yes, I should have played this and this, but I got a little. I wonder what it likes better here. Right, g3. Right, you take that pawn. I'll take this pawn. All right, fair enough. Yes, I mean, it's not like black had a. Yes, I think right here's the moment right here I should have just paused for a second. I knew that I could take this pawn, but I allowed him to take both these pawns right here. It's just winning for black after that, of course. I wonder what it likes better here. Bishop g7, just maintain the pin. All right. Yeah. And then it's GG, of course. Yeah, so I think if I went back, the critical moment right here would have been right here. So if I want at least a draw, I need to get these pawns or draw squares and just keep my king on the king side somewhere. You know, there's a 4 versus 3 right here. As long as my pawns right here, I mean, his king can never really attack these pawns as long as I maintain this base point right here. So, I mean, it could have been a better game than the game I saw, of course, live. I mean, I guess one thing too, I mean, psychologically, I was freaking out at this point because I was thinking, you know, my time's getting low and I didn't want to make a blunder. And so by doing so, I did make a blunder, of course. But this wasn't that bad. I mean, I was freaking out earlier about this game, but it wasn't that bad. I mean, besides this point right here, yeah, so right here, just recognizing that I can push this pawn right here. You know, if you take, I'll take. And, you know, still same situation right here. Still going to be favoring black, but I guess it's survivable with best practice right here. If pawn push, what should I do here, I think? Bishop e7. I mean, e7, sorry. All right. Yeah, I mean, this is just a draw at this point because I can see this being an idea. If takes. So, I mean, my bishop's always there to kind of stop these pawns. And, I mean, this pawn is king. Yeah, I mean, it's basically a draw. So, too bad I couldn't find that in the real game. And my opponent found that brutal pawn mate right there. It's funny now, but at the time I was just like, gosh darn. So before we wrap up, I do want to talk just a second about how you should prosecute your defeats in the future. So this is kind of how I'm going to wrap up this video, and then I'm going to post, and no edits. I'm going to let this stay, of course. And this is from the book. Again, I highly recommend this book if you want to become a stronger chess player, not just stronger on the board, but also stronger up here. Because again, if you're a type of person who's going to complain about their losses and blame the other player for their losses instead of, you know, looking at how you can improve yourself, then you always will be a chump, for lack of a better word. So definitely make sure you do look at your mistakes. For me personally, I had to wait a couple of hours, but it's important, as but again, to feel the feelings, as I'll say. So let's look at this list real quick. Again, I want to get a nice thumbnail, so bear with me for a second. I want to get a nice thumbnail. Maybe this will be a nice thumbnail right here. I'm not sure. But let's go ahead and read these off real quick. How to process your defeats faster. Number 1, take responsibility of defeats, but relax. So, I mean, I lost a game on live television, if you will, with hundreds of viewers, 2 grandmasters watching and probably saying I'm a dumb player or whatever, a noob, whatever. But hey, it's over. If anything, I mean, one thing, both from David Goggins' perspective about failure, and also this book right here is the one good thing about losing your very first game on live television is you can only go up from here. So I'm gonna come back. So I'm definitely gonna be training hard. And when I come back and request another opportunity to play with the Chessbrahs on their sub battles or whatever, then I'll be a lot stronger then, and they go see, oh, this guy, he's been working, working pretty good. Maybe you should give him another chance or whatever. So hopefully that's the case. But most important is relax. It's just a game. Though as a type A personality, it's kind of hard for me to do, but we'll work on that, of course. Number 2, maintain your self-esteem. This is something I have a tendency not to do. This just means not make fun of yourself because you did something dumb. So I have a tendency to kind of have negative self-talk, and this is a bad thing. you want to make sure that you don't handle your losses personally, like, oh, because I lost, I'm a bad player. I'll never be good at chess. Why bother being a chess coach? Because if I can't win these kinds of games, then I can never make it as a chess coach, whatever. Just we're all going to lose. Part of the game of chess is learning how to lose and learning how to correct your mistakes. So it's very important to remember that not to be your own worst enemy, because you, as David Goggins was, I know I'm making a lot of plugs about David Goggins, but he's a really good personal life coach, I'll just say. But he's right though. You live with yourself all day long, and you can become your worst enemy if you are not careful. Okay, so make sure that you're not becoming your worst enemy. Think positive. Number 3, feel your feelings. It's okay to feel disappointed, angry, sad, whatever. I spent some time. So I was doing some meal prep today. So I don't cook. I like to cook, eat good food. I wish I had something to share right now, but the screams kind of making me hard to share my food online, of course. So jokes on you, viewer. But seriously, though, it's important to feel your feelings. So while I was making my meals today, I was kind of listening to some music, some really deep, sad music to get the feels on. It's important to feel those feelings and not to feel embarrassed that, hey, you are mad that you lost this game. A lot of times, myself included, we want to put this mask on. We want to just build this wall around ourselves. We don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want these chumps, 2511, to think that we're a sissy or whatever by being sad or mad, whatever. So we want to be tough. It's important to have that feeling, but it's also important to recognize that, hey, we're all human, and it's very human to feel feelings like that. So just keep that in mind. And it's healthy too to kind of let yourself feel those feelings and not let them get bottled up and then unleash them on people, unintentionally and all that stuff. So number 4, remember your strengths. So like I did earlier when I looked at my accuracy, it's very important, especially after these stinging losses, to take the time out and look at your strengths. So in this game right here, my opponent, he won the game, but he made his own blunders too. Yeah, this was a free pawn. And for the most part, the game went pretty well. I allowed him to get that checkmate at the end. I was being a little careless. But, for someone, my opponent, just FYI, let me go to his account real quick. Just 1 second. All right. Yes, my opponent, his USTF rating is 1858. He is 300 points higher than mine. Mine is like 1570 something, whatever. Even though, one thing I noticed about him is that he's been losing a lot of his blitz games. If you look at his blitz rating, which is 1895, versus his bullet rating, his rapid rating, whatever. Even though he's an 1800 player, he hasn't been really growing that much over the past few months. He's been kind of stagnating, as you can see by his graph right here. So he used to be a 2100 player, but then it went down here real quick. So I'm not trying to diss him. I'm just saying that your opponents are not like invincible. So even though your opponent is higher rated, never let ELO dictate your approach to your opponents. ELO being their rating. So play good chess. Don't worry about your opponent's rating. It doesn't really matter. Number 5, reboot and try again. So I purposely did not play any more chess after that loss because I knew that if I played more chess, I'll get tilted, and then all kinds of bad stuff would happen after that. Once you get tilted, that means you lost a game, you play a game to get revenge, and then you lose another game, and then you play another game to kind of make up that game you just lost, and you're just going to dig yourself a hole. One thing I am proud of myself, going back to my strengths, and this is the last thing I'll show you guys before I start wrapping up, is my own progress. Come on, I mean, okay, this is a touch screen, my laptop, so bear with me. Come on now. The best quality for the best viewers. Don't forget that, guys. All right. Let's go to my blitz. So as you can see right here, I've been gradually improving. So that's really good. I saw a lot of growth just these past few days. I finally broke 1800 yesterday, so I was really happy about that. And for my bullet rating shot up yesterday because I was playing a lot of bullet chess, of course. Champs, sorry. Yeah, as you can see right here, it went from 1754 to boom 1900. So I mean, it definitely got a lot better really, really quickly. And now I'm not playing bullet chess right now. It is very important to kind of give your mind a break, to process the defeat, and then to tackle and make a game plan from there. So I'm going to kind of wrap up this video by saying, my game plan is to practice more, play more. I mean, I am busy as a teacher, a real life teacher. Pardon me. And I got all my other obligations too. I mean, if I was like the Chessbrahs and had no day job or whatever, I could just play chess. I mean, I could see myself being a 2000 rated player in real life too. Over the board, whatever. But I got my other obligations, so I shouldn't beat myself up about it. Again, going back to the list, and I should just have fun and enjoy the process becoming the world's strongest hero. Okay, so that's it for this evening. I'm glad you guys watched this video. If you guys have, check out my other videos, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace!